I'm back with another movie analysis. This time we're talking about Leave the World Behind Explained. This is a Netflix movie, as everybody should know, and a lot of people are talking about it right now, but I'm going to break it down from a whole different perspective to show you the symbolism. First, I want you guys to take notice that this movie has a whole lot of colors repeating, like red and blue and black and white. And I also know you guys probably already know about the buck right there and what that symbolizes. But I want you guys to pay close attention to everything that I'm going to explain in this video. I'm going to try to get my point across in 10 minutes. So the duration for this video is about 10 minutes. So let's start off by saying that this movie came out on December 8th. Now, let's pay attention to the number 8. Next year is an 8 year because right now this year is in 7 year. And the reason being is because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 equals 7. And 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. Let me tell you what the number 8 represents. Number 8 is important as it represents balance in the spiritual and materialistic world with Saturn as the ruling planet. In numerology, people with the life path number 8 are usually associated with being natural and prolific leaders. I'm a life path 8, ironically. Now, for the sake of copywriting, I'm going to insert clips, and they're going to have like little distortions, maybe the speed, the sound, or they may be muted. However, I'm going to try to break this down in 10 minutes, but I may have to do a part 2 of Leave the World Behind Explained. Another thing I wanted to point out is that the number 8 is feminine in nature because it is like the womb circle, curvy like the woman. It never ends. It's like the Ouroboros, the snake eating his own tail, the infinity sign. It is never ending. It's the creator and the finisher, the author and the finisher. That is what the woman in the divine feminine energy represents. The number 8 is also represented by the planet Saturn. And in astrology, Saturn is all about your moral obligations and authority. Planet Saturn in astrology is a planet of justice. It gives you marks as per your karma or deeds. Astronomically, it is an outermost planet. Saturn is a hard taskmaster. It instructs us to work hard, be disciplined. If we want success in life, then discipline should be the virtue for this. Saturn is also a masculine male planet, which represents the divine masculine. Now, I'm saying all of this to say, at the very beginning of the movie, they show like a darked out planet with the sun around it, like an eclipse, but it represents the rings of Saturn. This is what I was talking about, where it shows the pretty much rings of Saturn, but it is the sun, which is masculine, rising over the earth, which is feminine, which also represents the divine masculine and feminine. And it cuts to the next scene where it is the sun rising, which is masculine, over the water, which is feminine, and the Statue of Liberty, which is also feminine. It makes sure to put in focus the Statue of Liberty, which is feminine, and the tall buildings, which represent obelisks, which are masculine. Now, this is the next scene, and this is their house. If you notice, the same colors, the house has red bricks and a blue little phrase, I think that's what it's called, and blue windows, which is the divine masculine and the divine feminine. They put these colors in this movie so much that it is so obvious. And here you have the color blue again, followed by the pillars, which the lamps represent, that have the color yellow on them. Also, he has an alarm clock on this side with the number 6 on it. He has a cup there that is blue with a red number 7 and a white number 6, which is those colors that I told you about, which I'll break down what they represent later on in the video. And he also has a manual alarm clock that is pointing at the number 6 as well. It says 6:30. Why would he have a manual clock and a digital clock unless they were trying to speak through the numbers, and that is how they do in all movies. Now, this is the meaning of the number 666. So everybody that thinks that the number 666 is evil, you just don't have the discernment or understanding of what numbers really mean. But I'm going to get out the way and let you screenshot it so you guys can read what the number 666 mean for the sake of time. Now, Amanda and her husband, I don't know his name, their family are the main characters, and these are the supporting role characters. I'll talk about them later on in this video or part 2 if I have to make a part 2. But this divine masculine and divine feminine are married, and they have two children, which are a divine masculine and a divine feminine because they are a boy and girl. Amanda books reservations for them to go to a vacation home because they are under the impression that the world is ending soon. The color blue is so obvious in this movie that as Amanda is packing their suitcase, she holds up a blue dress. Throughout this entire film, the color blue represents the divine feminine and the color red represents the divine masculine. The opening credits to this film have the colors white and black and red, entirely. Red represents the divine masculine, which is the lower half of the chakras. Red represents patriarchy and male rulership. Blue represents carnality and the lower self. The colors black and white represent duality and physicality of the realm that we are in. It represents the human side of us, while blue and red represents the God side of us when they are merged to create the color purple, like the movie that's coming out this year, which is a divine feminine movie that's coming out at the very end of the year, which I'll do a video on, but it's coming out at the very end of the year before the number 8 year. Now let's revisit the number 76 that was on the mug that the husband had on the left side of his bed, on the bedside table. Angel number 76 is a powerful numerology symbol that can bring many positive changes into your life. It signifies spiritual awakening and enlightenment, as well as an abundance of luck, success, and wealth. And the number 76 is not put in this movie one time. And this goes with why they keep using the colors red and blue and black and white so vividly in this movie. Now, the executive producers, Michelle and Barack Obama, are very intelligent people who are not only high-ups, who are college educated under the esoteric knowledge in the secret mystery schools, but they know what all of this means. So this movie has more than one meaning, and it's purposely created that way because only specific people are going to interpret the movie in the divinity that it is supposed to be interpreted in. Most people are going to interpret this movie for the carnality, like them being obsessed with devices and social media and the NASA shirt and stuff like that. Another thing I want to point out is that in the opening credits, you got to listen to the song that they use in the lyrics. It's about success being the best revenge and about new money, which has a lot to do with the number 8, 2024, and the number 8 being associated with Saturn and justice. So this movie is pretty much representing what happens when you merge the divine masculine and the divine feminine and you ascend. Watch this clip of it coming on and listen to what she says after the credits are over. Leave the world behind. So Amanda, which represents the divine feminine, at the very beginning of the movie, after the credits, talking about what they're talking about, says, "Leave the world behind." Now, what the title of that movie means is to ascend, you must leave the world behind. It doesn't mean that the world is ending. It just means that the world as we know it is ending. If you look down here on the title of this, the title screen for this movie, it says there's no going back to normal. And anybody who's been through their spiritual journey and has ascended and merged their divine masculine and feminine, we all know that there is no going back to normal after you leave the world behind. And leaving the world behind means to leave behind the carnality, leave behind the things that you thought were true. I know for sure that I'm going to have to do a part 2 and probably a part 3 for this movie because there is so much I want to unpack, and I know 10 minutes is not enough. Now, I told you that good old number 76 is not just in this movie one time. While they're in the car, I'm not too much focused on what they're saying or what the children are doing or the fact that the daughter is, paying attention to the show Friends, because I'm more so looking at them connecting the dots through the numbers that they speak through. Now, as they're in the car, they have their little dialogue, and then the camera pans up to show this. What would be the point of the camera panning up to show this unless they were trying to convey something? And I will break it down. Now, after you leave the world behind, you will reach exit 76, which is Point Comfort, and it is the only exit. So when you take exit 76, there is no going back to normal. The next spot is them pulling into the parking pad, or whatever you want to call it, of the vacation rental home. Now and again, I'm not too much really paying attention to the dialogue that they're having, because the dialogue is a distraction and meant for those who are going to be entertained by the movie. Now, the title of part 1 is called The House. After their dialogue, Amanda walks the house in admiration because the house is pretty luxury. It is a nice upscale home. As she's admiring the home and walking through it, a song called Never Gonna Let You Go by Backstreet Boys comes on. Now, the person that is watching this movie for entertainment will be entertained by the song and wonder how a couple of YT boys sound so urban. But a person with eyes to see and ears to hear will see what is really going on with this. The lyrics to the songs are talking about not wanting to let someone go because of how much they are in love with them. My interpretation is not wanting to let the old life or the old you go and enter into this new life of luxury, which represents how she's admiring the home as this song plays. Also, peep the accent wall behind the bed. It is water, which is feminine. Keep that in mind. And Amanda, which is the divine feminine, is jumping on the bed in sheer pleasure. Amanda is driving in a blue car, so the divine feminine is being represented or associated with the color blue again, and she's listening to the same song by the Backstreet Boys. And she shops at a place with blue all over it and a whole lot of life called Point Comfort Marketplace. I cannot make this up. The next scene, look at this red and blue. Look at this. And all of this that I'm about to show you is within the same scene. Red cigarettes. Red tomatoes. Represented by who? The masculine, because that's her husband chopping up them fruits. And that's a pack of cigarettes that she bought for him. And right after she bought them for him and they had a little dialogue, he asked her, could they have a quickie? Which represents the merging of the divine masculine and feminine. This is the next scene that it shows. Now, a lot of people who've done an analysis on this movie are more so focused on the product placement, which it is, which this they say represents the Beats earphones that the little girl had on in the car. However, every movie does product placement because the movies have contracts with the companies because they're all owned by the same people. But this to me symbolizes the female because it is a circle and it is never ending. It is a circle inside of a circle. So the outside is the divine feminine. As you can see, their blue car is going around it, which is divine feminine. And inside is the divine masculine, which she is pregnant. This is the womb. This represents transmuting your energy from darkness to light. This represents the rebirth, the rebirthing process when you ascend and you're climbing up the ladder, which people call the dark night of the soul, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. When they arrive at the beach, look around. What colors do you see? Blue on the divine feminine, blue jeans on the divine masculine at the bottom. He has a checkerboard shirt on. Blue on that little boy. He has a blue hat, a blue shirt. That man has on blue. There's blue on the ground right there. That boy has on blue, red, and white. All of the masculine having on the color blue represents the imbalance of energy. This little boy represents the merging of it. Again, everybody was worried about the product placement for the rock star being on the sun's shirt, but they're failing to realize the colors of his shirt, which is red and blue, which is the merging of the divine masculine and feminine, which it makes the color purple. And he is a masculine wearing that shirt. The shirt also has a 5-pointed star and the letter R. I really could go into what all of that means, but that would make the video even longer. And then the son's phone rings at 2:35, and it's a divine feminine named Taylor who sent him a picture of her wearing a blue bikini. The number 235 centers around healing and self-care. This number encourages you to take time for yourself and to focus on your own well-being. It serves as a reminder that it's important to make sure your emotional, physical, and spiritual health are all well taken care of. This is literally the blueprint to ascending. So, they are telling you literally how to ascend, how to leave the world behind. Now let's go back to this. His phone screen, it shows 235 and it's unlocked. I forgot to say that and I kind of cropped it out too much, but it was unlocked, which means that he unlocked it and his shirt represents that he's merged, basically. It's speaking a code. They speak with numbers. And literally, right after she sent the picture of herself wearing that blue bikini, look at her pinged address. 11, which is a master number. 11 is a master number. Basically, when you master yourself, it also stands for the pillars. 963, which is 369. They are the numbers of the universe. She is their daughter, and she saw a ship that was far away at first, but then she's been watching it the entire time, and she's noticing that the ship is getting closer to the shore. Also, I forgot to point out that the mom is wearing blue and the son's phone was red. Now pay attention that the parents both have on sunglasses, which means that they have on a veil. Their eyes are covered. They cannot see the truth. Because the daughter is literally warning them that the ship is getting closer to shore, and the father's response is, "Oh yeah, she's a beaut. Looks like an oil tanker." He literally goes into a history lesson about some unsolicited information that is not relevant to the circumstances at hand. Also, if you pay close attention to that scene when they pan out and show the ship from the little girl's point of view, to the right of her, you'll see a woman laying on the beach with on a red towel with a blue bathing suit on. And to the right, the far left, you'll see someone wearing a blue shirt. This is the ship that came ashore, and it is literally red, white, and black. And I already told you what white and black represents, but I'll tell you again. It represents duality of this realm, the physicality, the things that you cannot see, the lies, the patriarchal, and all of that kind of stuff, the lower chakras. The red represents male domination, male leadership, patriarchy, and the age of Pisces. The old earth and the old systems and the old ways. But what's more ironic is the fact that the boat is named the White Lion. Now, the boat and its colors are telling you that it represents the old ways in the age of Pisces. And being as though that the ship is abandoned and it is being, it basically ran up on shore, it's telling you that those ways are no longer in motion. They have been put to a stop and everyone has jumped ship. But let's get back to the title, The White Lion. That sounds pretty familiar. Oh, TikTok. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and protected by the First Amendment right to free speech. What was the purpose of the White Lion ship? The ship brought the first Africans to the English colony of Virginia in 1619, a year before the arrival of the Mayflower in New England. So, literally, this ship means that this lie no longer exists and it has been abandoned. Everyone has jumped ship. It has been stopped. There's no motion in the lie of this and with everything that comes with this. Now in this scene, you see everybody wearing those colors, but the family or the father is worried about what's going on. He's confused. He's trying to find out how a ship was able to come on shore. Now, remember I told you that the mom and dad both had on sunglasses at the beach, which means their eyes were veiled. They could not see the truth. However, their son and daughter did not have on sunglasses, and the daughter was the one who was able to see the ship before it even reached the shore. They are literally conveying that the old ways are obsolete, no one is believing it anymore, and it is time to wake up to ascend. I call it the big ship of lies. And it is also ironic that Part 1 is titled The House. Plantations were called the house or the big house. Now, the family literally drives back home from the beach in their blue car. And they make sure to pan in on the fact that they're in a blue car. As they're driving home in that blue car, the mom notices a Starbucks and decides that she wants to stop in and get a drink. While everyone was focused again on the product placement, no one paid attention to the purpose of the product placement, and particularly Starbucks. Why did they choose Starbucks? The Starbucks product placement in the hands of the divine feminine wearing the color blue has many reasons that I'm going to break down to you. The Starbucks logo is a mermaid or a siren. And remember at the beginning of the film, they showed the sun rising over the ocean in the Statue of Liberty? The statue represents the divine feminine, and the ocean represents the divine feminine's womb. And the sun rising represents the sun being born, ascension. The Starbucks logo is representation of the divine feminine, a mermaid, one that lives in the ocean at that. And they make it very, very, very clear what they want to convey in this scene. As you can see, the divine masculine over there again with checkerboards on. Even though they're not black and white, they look black and white, but they're actually green in some other color. But look at where he is and that bowl of apples right there that are the color red. Right next to him, the divine feminine with the Starbucks cup, and she's wearing blue. And as you can see, they are separated. And in this scene, they are talking about what is happening with the internet and what happened at the beach, and how the children are pretty much not even bothered by what happened. And the reason why the children aren't bothered because they saw and can see through the lies that the parents cannot see through. Now, as the husband and wife are sitting there talking, they have a moment of silence where the wife looks out the window and she sees a mom deer and a baby deer, which represents the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but that represents the son being born again. And the fact that they made that a scene and left it in, because movies go through a lot of editing before they are released, and a lot of things are removed from movies, but only the very important things are put in movies or left in movies. So the fact that they left that scene in there, and the main character, which is Amanda, which is a divine feminine with the blue on, she is the one who notices it and admires it, and it's so important to her that she calls her husband and brings it to his attention. And after they had their dialogue about how beautiful that was, the directors and the cameraman made it a duty to go back and zoom in on those deers, the mother deer and the baby deer. And right after they show that mother deer and baby deer, the scene pans into the sun, showing the sun. And in that scene, the parents and their children are sitting at the table and they're eating. The parents both have different shirts on. There's those colors again, and this is the next scene. And this is the show Friends. Let me tell you what the etymology of the word friends is. Friend, the origin is Germanic, and then it got reduced to Old English and mixed with Dutch and German, and it ended up becoming the word friend because of that. And the Old English, I don't know how to pronounce, but that's right there, and it really means to love. Didn't the daughter love the movie Friends? Almost like a weird obsession. Now, the reason why the daughter was so obsessed with Friends is because she represented the heart chakra. She represented love. That's why she was able to see the ship before it even touched the soil. Now, the average viewer would see her as basically being a kid who is addicted to television and technology. But the dual meaning of it is what I just explained.